Celeste. I'm a mom and a preschool teacher, and I make videos that help parents and other child caregivers navigate difficult situations with their kid. This video introduces the parenting method that I've been developing for the last couple years, and that is called healing through parenting. If you are familiar with conscious discipline developed by Dr. Becky Bailey, you might find that some of the concepts within healing through parenting resonate with conscious discipline model. Conscious discipline focuses on creating a safe school family and focuses on teaching emotional regulation within a school system. Healing through parenting fills the gap of how to teach emotional literacy while also healing your own wounds from trauma that you may have experienced during childhood. Child abuse is incredibly prevalent in the world. So many of us grew up in abusive households, experienced trauma as children, and the scars that we have left over from things that happened to us when we were children stay with us. Even if we don't necessarily remember what happened, our bodies and our brains never forget. So sometimes that manifests as anxiety or phobias or weird thought patterns that you have no idea where they came from. Some of it could be related to trauma that you have experienced as a child. I grew up in a very abusive home, and I have recently been getting memories of childhood sexual abuse that have been resurfacing, and these memories are just coming back to the surface because I repressed them for my entire life, and it's been very, very scary. And I'm really fortunate to have a daughter who's 2 years old now because she has been helping me heal some of the wounds that my abusers have left on me. Healing through parenting really focuses on addressing the underlying emotions that drive behavior rather than focusing on the behavior and then punishing or rewarding your child based on their behavior. Punishing and rewarding is how you control and manipulate your child into behaving the way that you want them to. Healing through parenting helps you understand why children behave the way they do, what emotions are driving that behavior, and what you can do about it to help them learn new skills and learn pro-social behavior to get them to cooperate and listen without needing punishments or rewards to control behavior. If we understand how our brains work and we understand how our brains go into survival mode to keep us safe, which is essentially when you get triggered, your brain is going into survival state because you have a perceived threat. And many times when our survival states are getting triggered within a situation with our children, we could resort to the old parenting techniques our parents might have used on us that left us with issues. But instead, there's a different way that you can handle it where you don't pass along your trauma to your children. Instead, you heal and you reparent yourself through your child and through their own misbehavior. If you have a child and you find that you get angry with them, or you lash out, or they do things that really bother you and you're not quite sure how to navigate really difficult moments, that is your brain giving you a signal and giving you the permission to reparent yourself and to learn a new way to handle a situation that may not have been handled okay or appropriately when you were little. So instead of chasing your kid around when they're not listening, fighting, punishing, yelling, screaming, rewarding, bribing, or begging, there's a different way, and that is healing through parenting. Now, healing through parenting has a couple different aspects to it, and it's all laid out in a very clear and concise way so that you can start implementing this if you just remember the 4 steps, and then slowly over time it will help shift your mindset to more rational and less emotion-based. I have videos that go into more detail about the different aspects within healing through parenting, and you can check out those videos in my channel, or I will leave a link in the description box below so that you can find them easily. There are 3 main concepts right now in healing through parenting, and this is getting developed over time. As I work through my own trauma, I modify and change my method to make it make more sense and to fit a wider picture of all the different ways that we are abused. But what I've been working on now seems to be broad enough where it encompasses most of how our brains handle trauma and how to de-escalate those traumatic experiences so that we can reparent ourselves and teach our kids how to behave and cooperate. So the first thing is the color spectrum of emotions, and this tells us that our brains have 3 states, and that is our rational state, emotional, and survival, and these are color-coded green, yellow, and red. And I'll refer to the colors as I talk about, where you are emotionally, and you can watch those videos for more detail about how it works. So the color spectrum of emotions lays out how our brains are set up and how this all works. And it also has a little activity that you can do so that you can better understand your emotions and your triggers. And you can check out those links again below. Once you understand that, then you tie it into the 4 steps for emotional regulation. And the 4 steps are to identify the emotion, validate the reason you're feeling it, take a deep breath, and then problem solve. And I have a video that goes into more detail about that, and I have a link below for that as well. And I keep saying that over and over and over and over. I don't want to go into that because I already made a video on it. So please watch that if you're interested. And then the glue that holds the whole process together are the 3 C's, and that is composure, consistency, and connection. When we look at the 3 C's, we have consistency, which is being consistent about the way you handle misbehavior so that your child knows what to expect. And then you have composure, which is you need to, as much as possible, stay in green, stay in your rational state when you're handling misbehavior so that your child feels safe with you. And finally, connection. If you're not composed and you're not consistent with the way you handle misbehavior, your child is going to be resistant to being able to connect with you. And that connection is what helps your child learn how to be safe and is what helps your child want to be willing to be more cooperative and want to work with you to learn how to behave. If you have a child who is resistant to behaving and resistant to cooperating, are you being consistent with the way that you handle misbehavior? Are you composed when you're dealing with your child who's misbehaving? If the answer is no, then it might be important to look at your own childhood and look at what hurt you in childhood, and is your child doing something that is triggering those feelings of hurt, which is causing you to lose your composure. If you can heal your wounds from childhood by using the opportunities that your child is giving you to heal your wounds, then not only do you help teach your child how to behave, but you also move past those things that hurt you. And the 3 C's work together beautifully to create the foundation for how healing through parenting functions. And keep in mind that if you are struggling with issues related to your own childhood trauma, or you're struggling keeping your composure, that therapy is a really, really great way to get support and get relief from the things that might be keeping you stuck in a cycle. There's also a lot of different hotlines, so if you feel like you are in crisis, there are hotline numbers that I have below to a bunch of different hotlines that you can call and reach out if you feel like you're stuck in a crisis and you feel like your children might be suffering because of something that's going on with you. There are also, and within healing through parenting, there are also several different tools that you can implement, such as love links, deep breathing, the safe spot, safe boxes, visual timers, visual schedules, and a lot of other little tools here and there that I will be developing as time goes on. And I'm going to be working on making videos about that content in the future. And all these different tools help support you and help support your child and create safety and connection within the relationship. And the final thing I want to say about healing through parenting is that it takes a shift in mindset. A lot of us grew up with punitive punishments and grew up with rewards, especially those of us who grew up with child abuse. Many of us grew up with narcissistic parents who relied on punitive punishments and rewards to keep us in line and to keep us under their control. And these punitive punishments have done a lot of damage to me and other survivors of narcissistic abuse. And I'm going to be making videos that go into more detail about how punishments can lead to a cascade of punishments and how rewards can create reward dependency, and how these things inhibit your child's ability to develop intrinsic motivation and want to choose pro-social behaviors. There is strength in acknowledging that our parents messed up, and there's strength in acknowledging that there's a better way. As I was editing this video, I forgot to mention that I am starting a second YouTube channel that focuses on my personal healing journey through my trauma, and it's going to be called Reflections on Trauma. But if you're interested in following my journey through healing and just having some deep discussions about trauma and how that impacts mental health, and I'm going to be doing some book reviews with some of the books that I'm reading that has been helping me work through my trauma. I have a link to my new channel in the description box below, and I'm going to be uploading to this channel as well as the other channel regularly. And if you want to follow my journey over there, consider subscribing to that channel. And I'm going to try to keep the two separate, just in case like you don't want to know about my trauma, but you still want to know about the parenting stuff that I've been working on. That way it can be separate and you don't have to be triggered by something if you're not interested in talking about trauma. So that being said, I hope that this was helpful. And again, if this content interests you and you want to be notified every time I post a new video, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon, and also give this video a thumbs up if you liked it or you found any benefit to it. It helps my channel grow and it helps this content reach more parents who might be interested in this content. I wish you peace, love, health, and joy.